What's up, y'all? On a Wednesday, as we get things started here. Thank you so much for being with us on a Wednesday afternoon. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and I am joined today by Tim Strachan.
What's up, Ken, man? This is great. I know it's not our normal day, man, but we got a special guest today, and I'm looking forward to talk a little bit of football on a Wednesday afternoon.
That's right. We are joined on today's episode of the WCAC Spectacular by the head football coach for the University of Maryland, friend to the WCAC, and really the inspiration for this shirt I'm wearing. Coach Mike Locksley, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you having me, Tim.
Hey, Coach, let me tell you a little bit something about the shirt that Ken's got on right now that our viewers can see. When you got hired this last time as head coach, I was so euphoric. I called Ken up. I said, "We got to make T-shirts." It says the DMV is on hashtag locks down.
That's right.
There's a free one for you, but they are available for sale.
I may have to check one of those out.
You are going to have to. That was my hashtag. I like your hashtag locked in. That's pretty good. But I liked mine more. So I had a T-shirt made up for you.
First of all, it was an hours tee. Always after the case.
Well, it was your money, Ken.
The fastest,
and it was my idea.
The fastest to take the credit for awesome ideas, T. Strachan. He runs a 4.240 and taking credit for ideas. Coach, so we're ecstatic to be able to talk to you. The reason why we made these shirts is we knew what was coming. I'll get things started by saying welcome home. What's it been like being back now that you're fully all the way in? You've had a year, and but outside of this current situation we find ourselves in, what's been the general experience being the head man at UMD?
Well, obviously, as Tim knows, this has been one of those jobs that I've always coveted, and I've said that many times. And it's not, you hear coaches that take jobs and say that this is their dream job. But for me and anybody that knows me, when I got into this business, this was the job that I set out to work towards and obtain. And so it's been obviously not the first year we want, but we went through what we went through as a team was very necessary for us to really, as I like to say, kind of set the culture to where we can build this thing on a really solid foundation, and then just see this thing grow. And that's the plan, and that's the vision. And been great being back home. Very familiar, obviously, growing up here in the DMV and growing up in DC, and having recruited this area in 30 of the years I've been in the business. So it's great to be back and around family, friends, and back in Maryland.
Well, Locks, that's just it, too. I mean, as we were just telling you before we came on, we're super hyper local guys. We're very proud of where we're from. You being a Washingtonian yourself, going to Ballou High School, the pride of Ballou. You got to love being here and having your family here and your friends here, and really showing that local pride that you're really promoting for this program.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, and anybody that knows this area knows that it's a different area, and that most people that are natives of the DMV, as we like to call it now, and take pride in being from here. And I've seen a lot of great programs built with guys from this area that have basically helped build them. I mean, I watched even just being at Alabama and bringing kids that we had in our program there from this area. And then I saw firsthand, even at Illinois as an assistant, when we went to the Rose Bowl, we had 18 guys from this area. So area that I have quite a bit of affinity for, and a lot of people don't understand. They hear about all the 5 stars, but there's so many talented kids that may not have the 5 stars that end up being just tremendous college and pro football players that are from this area. And I don't think it gets enough credit. It was always known kind of during my era of growing up as a basketball area, but I got to give kudos to the grassroots football efforts by our youth football programs. Programs like White Oak and the Maryland Heat, who've gone all over the country and won against some other states and won, those championships they talk about, and then seeing that trickle up to the high schools in this area and how they've all just, you look at the top high school programs in the country, and year in and year out, you've got 3, 4, 5 schools from just this little small area represented in that. So kudos to the coaches, and from the youth league up to the high school coaches, especially in the WCAC, with the success that this area has had.
I remember
Coach, we talk about this all the time. We talk about it all the time, and we're going to be biased about the WCAC. We always say that it's the best league in the country.
it's the best
That
league in the
doesn't
country.
mean that any team from the WCAC is going to beat everybody across the country. We know there's good football in Texas and Florida and California. We know that the Trinity League is probably the other league that can have an argument at all. But as you said, the Mathica Council, St. John's, Gonzaga, 4 of the top teams in the WCAC are consistently in the top 25 rankings nationally.
Yeah, and again, it's a testament that this area has really done a great job of developing really good football players. And as a guy that understands the grassroots effort of doing it, having gone and spent time, and 3 of my boys all played youth football in this area during the prime of their growing up years. The youth leagues have done a tremendous job of developing and teaching the fundamentals of the game, and then now when they're getting to the high school level again, the coaching in this area has just continued to improve, and I think it plays a huge role in the way our players in this area are being developed, and you see it on Saturdays and Sundays all the time.
The WCAC coach, as you're an impact on Alabama, for example, or especially even Illinois, bringing WCAC guys. We noticed how quick Coach Saban was to get up here a few times in the last couple years. I mean, was it as much of an emphasis before you were at Alabama? Because clearly you made it one, and I believe it continues to be.
Places like Alabama tend to come up and they spot recruited per se, where we'll have top 100 players. I know they came and recruited the Quanjo boys from out of here and Cyrus Jones from up in Baltimore. But I think what they found is that there's also quite a bit of guys that maybe are right on the edge of the top players in the country that end up being great football players. And I think the emphasis, because of my knowledge of this area, and as a coach, as an assistant, when you come in, there is some politics and the selling of the kids in your area to make sure that they get evaluated in comparison to some of the other kids that come from other areas. And I think if you look at the success of the players from this area that have been a part of some of the programs that I've been at outside of Maryland, the track record of success they've had it's unmatched. And so I think that's what pushed Alabama, and now I'm trying to, as I like to say, build a wall around this area to keep them out of here now, and try to keep these guys right here at home.
It's worked pretty well this recruiting class, that's for sure. Congratulations, by the way.
Coach, you built a wall around, and I've done research. I've never done research for you before ever, but I did some today. And to my count, you built a wall around 15 WCAC guys on your current roster. That includes Rakim Jarrett, one of your newest signees that we've had the pleasure of watching the last couple of years take over games and be an incredible talent. But 15 guys from the WCAC alone. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but again, I think it's how it should be. And if you look back, some of my previous stops here, this is my 3rd time back. When I was here the first time, and the teams that Coach Friesen inherited and did a tremendous job of developing into championship teams in 01, 2, and 3 probably looked a lot like what we look like, or what we're going to look like as we continue to move forward and recruit. For us, it'll start right here at home, and work outwards. And if we can get all of our needs met right here it's a win-win for Maryland. It's a win-win for the kids and their families. So, we're definitely going to put a local emphasis of trying to get the best players we can get from this area, but also, much like I did at other places, because of the relationships that we built in places down south, and be able to go supplement this area if there are guys that we can't get or we don't get. We do have a national brand that we can sell because of our education and our location, and the coaches we've hired that I think we'll be able to attract people from all across the country. But definitely, it starts right here with as you guys say, the conferences in this area, the WCAC, and some of the other high school programs. We've got some of the public league teams that have done a good job, like Wise and Northwest. Absolutely. And some of those other places as well that we can pull from, that we need to if we want to be the program that we intend to be.
Don't think it wasn't lost on me, Coach, that out of those 15, you got 8 DeMatha guys. That's good. That's a good start. Huh? 8 Stags, my man. 8 Stags, 3 good Council, 2 McNamara, 1 Gonzaga, 1 St. John's, and there's probably a whole lot more to come.
Yeah, the plan is to have a whole lot more to come from all over this area, and the WCAC, as you guys have said, does a tremendous job. So much parity when you look across. A team like Good Counsel, who wins the championship last year, and Gonzaga a couple of years ago, and DeMatha has perennially always been in it. Even McNamara has had times where
yes.
They've been able to. I know growing up they were one of the top programs when I was in high school. So there's no doubt this league and this area does a great job of developing championship and talent.
Well, man, Kiata's got it on the up and up over there in Forestville, Coach, for the Mustangs. But I'm going to ask you a Maryland question. We have a whole lot of Terp fans in our basement crowd as well. And I'll kind of tie it into what's happening right now. It's a unique situation. The sport of football, the cycle of football was hit in a kind of a different time of year than the other sports that were in midseason. So it's kind of like you don't, nothing so far, I guess, has been drastically altered in terms of, games and that kind of thing yet. But there's so much work that you do this time of year. Are you finding it easier to do some of that because of what's happening? Has it changed what you wanted, to accomplish? And, kind of where are things over in the program? Because it's widely seen as one of the highest, fastest rising college programs in the country.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's changed quite a bit. Being a young team, I think last year we played the 3rd or 4th most true freshmen, and it showed in the product we put on the field. Obviously, experience still wins out in the game of football, and so we maybe took some lumps with playing so many young players last year, but I think as I've seen in the recipe that we follow, I've seen this thing play out to where these freshmen become sophomores and juniors that are battle tested, and then that's you start to see the fruits of maybe some of the hard labor from earlier in their careers. But there's no doubt it's changed our ability to continue to develop the team the way we need to, because football is one of those games where you've got to play it and rep it to get better. And missing 15 opportunities of spring ball because of the pandemic definitely doesn't help our cause, but we're a program that operates out of being half full as opposed to half empty, and we're utilizing whatever it is we have now, which for us is the ability to develop our team mentally, maybe more than we would have done physically with spring practice. And so we're still moving the program forward, maybe not the physical piece of it and the reps that you'd like to get. But when we come out of this thing, whenever we do, our team should be a lot better from a football intelligence standpoint. They should have a really strong grasp of the concepts we're installing offensively, defensively, and special teams. And then, when the time comes where we can get back together to develop the physical piece of it and the reps that come along and are necessary to develop your team, we'll focus on that then.
Coach, to what extent are you also just, talking with your other coaches? You've talked so much about your time at Alabama and spending time under Nick Saban and learning from him and have you been in touch with other coaches? What are they doing? Have you picked stuff off of them? If they asked you, what other things are you doing that they're
Don't
going to
give
pick
them all
up
the
from you? Have
secrets.
you guys been collaborating?
Well, as you know, the football fraternity is a close-knit, tight fraternity. There's not very many secrets in it. And every coach has his list of go-to guys or guys that they bounce information off of. For us, I know the Big Ten head coaches we have a weekly conference call where, we get together to discuss latest things that are going on with the pandemic and any more information or new information. But, having been in the business 30 years, I've been able to develop some really strong relationships throughout the country with other coaches, including guys I work for like Coach Saban. And so, no, we definitely have bounced off ideas and asking people how they're utilizing this time and, trying to put together the best possible situation or schedule for our team based off of what we can do. So, definitely have reached out and talked to other people. We get 8 hours here. Different leagues have different rules, but we're allowed 8 hours of meeting times with our players during the course of a week. And so we're on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule with our players where, we'll have a 30-minute special teams meeting and then, an hour and a half of offense, defensive installs where we also can break down even smaller meetings to get into the position groups to really make sure that, the installs we would have put in during spring practice we're implementing now. So, again, that's where developing our team mentally more than the physical piece of not being able to do it. We're going to try to take advantage of that via the platforms like Zoom and Microsoft Teams that allow us to have these virtual meetings. So.
Well, I think people forget sometimes because we talk about it with the WCAC, and it's the same situation you face in your business of college football. Is that it's also tied to schools, right? So, like the whole issue of what's going on right now is such a huge impact to schools. And if kids aren't in school, I mean, the idea of playing college football without college kids, in the stands or in classes and on campus is hard to even wrap my brain around. So I can only imagine, these calls that you're on with these coaches. It's just gonna look and feel so different. But I gotta believe that if they're taking classes, there's gonna be, they'll at least be able to watch it from their dorms, and it can still be the thing that brings everybody back together. I mean, because college football is so important to everybody. Period. Before you even have to deal with all the problems, coach, that you have.
Yeah, no doubt. It's important, and it's something that I think we all want to get back to. But I also think again, especially what we've gone through here, the safety and health and welfare of our players will always kind of be front and center on all decisions, and it's a good thing. Obviously, these are decisions a lot bigger than the coach. These will be state and federal decisions that are being made. I do think, if in fact this thing does open up even a little bit to where they deem it safe to return to play, and maybe, I just couldn't fathom if, they're not in school, how it works, but there's still a market, I think, to play the game without fans because of the TV part of it. But there's just so many questions and so many things that you've got to answer before you even go that route. And for me, I've really just chosen to not get caught up into the different scenarios because there's so many that could happen, and it's still so fluid for us right now that, one of the things I learned, and I tell people this, I learned it the tough way, losing my son a couple years ago, just basically like live for today. Like let's deal with tomorrow when tomorrow gets here. And that's kind of been my approach as I have taken over the Maryland football program, that we're going to just concentrate on being the best version of ourselves today, and then we'll wake up and find out what tomorrow brings it, and then we'll maximize tomorrow. Because if you just keep trying to play these scenarios of what if and when can we return, I mean, you really just will drive yourself crazy because there are no concrete answers until this thing, obviously, from a federal level, a medical level, they can find out when it's safe and when it's ready for us to return.
It's got to be
Coach,
liberating.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think in a minute we'll get back to a couple of the players and stuff that's going on now. But I think especially at the college level, right? This isn't professional football. This is a college level. You're developing men. Not all of them are going to go on to the NFL. This is a teaching moment for you, right? I mean, this is a teaching moment that outside of football. This is bigger than football, right?
Yes,
This is a teaching moment for you to help these young men develop as human beings, not just football players.
Yeah, no doubt, and I think football is a great teacher of life, and we oftentimes say it's one of the closest things to what real life is about. I think hopefully what we gain out of it, and just the slowdown of how we've been put into the situation we're in, it creates a attitude of gratitude for our players. You think back to even you talk about the WCAC and recruiting and how these guys, it's very easy to get kind of caught up in being entitled as if you're supposed to be able to play the game or you should get this or you should have a scholarship. I'm hoping that this gives all of us an opportunity to really reflect back on how grateful we should be to have a scholarship, to play the great game that we all love and so many people just strive for, this great game. And so, I'm hoping that this standstill and this pandemic kind of reinforces that value in all of us to be really grateful for opportunities, because you always tell your players, you need to play this one like it's your last game or last play, and for some of these guys it could very well be. And watching what happened to the seniors that didn't get to play in the NCAA basketball tournament, it's come to life. And so hopefully from this we can take some life lessons that allow us to be really grateful for the opportunities we get to play college football.
And then also on top of that, Coach, the good thing about football is it's not the middle of the season. There is going to be a sports event, if you can believe it or not, next week. And in that sports event, there are going to be a couple Terrapins who are looking to get their name called. And with respect to the WCAC in Maryland itself, of course, they're DeMatha guys. I got my eye on Anthony McFarland, Tino Ellis, two guys that have decided to move on to the NFL, but you're, I'm sure, rooting them on and staying in their pocket and helping them out in this process as well.
Yeah, both were great Terps and both did a tremendous job of trying to elevate this program. And, I sure wish I had opportunity to have those guys back another year. They both,
I bet.
both are talented, both went out with injuries or had injuries most of the year that didn't necessarily allow them to maybe put their best foot forward, but I think they both have a tremendous opportunity to be very successful on Sundays, as we've seen a lot of our Terps who've gotten the opportunity to play at the next level have all done. So, with Ant, his abilities as a home run hitter, a guy that makes big plays, and then Tino, just Mr. Consistency in terms of the way he approaches everything and great ball skills and just a real smart, tough, and reliable are the words we like to use with guys, and that sums up Tino Ellis. So two really good pros, two really good Terps that I sure wish I had another year, another opportunity to coach.
Now, I can't believe I don't know this answer, and I'm sure I've asked you this before, but being a Washingtonian, you are a Redskins fan, correct?
I am a diehard Redskins
There it
fan.
is.
There you go. I knew it.
Everything DC, man.
I knew it. Tell us what you know about Chase Young. I know you had to coach against him, you had to prepare against him, but I also know you know him personally, probably too.
Yeah,
the fact that the Redskins are most likely going to take him at number 2.
Again, another one of those guys that, as I'm sure Timmy loves, a Stag, and but
that's right. He went to DeMatha.
By way of St. Vincent Pilates, so I'd like to know how that worked out. I'm not going to say the recruiting word or something like that. But no, Chase is a game changer. I know from a game planning standpoint, one of the first things we do on Sundays is we look at the personnel of who we're going to play and say who has the opportunity to wreck your game plan. And he's one of those guys that wrecks game plans. And we're fortunate this year. Actually, weren't fortunate. We didn't have to face him. That was one of the games I think he got suspended or wasn't available to play, and it didn't necessarily help us at all in that game as we played probably one of our worst games. But If you look at the pedigree of the pass rushers that came out of Ohio State the last couple of years,
Yep.
with Joey Bosa, then Nick Bosa, I mean, and then you hear people, and from what I've seen on tape, uh, he's maybe a little more athletic, a little more twitchy, a little more explosive than those two guys. And you see what they've done and the impact they've had on the NFL game. There's no doubt in my mind that Chase will be a great pro and well deserving. I know the family really well, and recruited him a little bit, tried to get him down to Bama, and he decided to go to Ohio State. And but very happy to see him and the success he's had, and hopefully he'll have at the next level.
I was wondering if I was going to say, are there any other quarterbacks in this draft that you like? But I'll give you a chance to talk about your guy. He's pretty awesome. I don't understand. We had this argument the other night about who is going to do well fastest. And maybe I'll just ask you that question. Is there a quarterback at the top of this draft, one of the top four, top five guys that you think will do well fastest?
Well, I mean, I've obviously have a personal relationship with one of them, and
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa, and just seeing him, even during the recruiting process when we recruited him to Bama, the skill set and the talent, and then having a chance to coach him and see his development from year one to the year when I took over as the play caller at 18, and then seeing him last year up until the injury. There's no doubt that the kid is special. He elevates people around him. He's a guy that's really talented, throws the ball with great accuracy, great pace, touch, manages the pocket well. The best thing is the kid is just such a great person, man. That you love to root for a guy like him, and that he does well. And when you talk about being grounded and grateful, and a guy that's really family oriented, I mean, that's who Tua is, and he's one of those guys that everybody in the locker room loves, and just has that ability to be very uplifting to the people around him. So a little partial with it.
Yep, sure.
I do know I recruited Joe Burrow up at Athens High School, and had a chance to watch and recruit him coming out of high school as well. So good group of quarterbacks coming out this year, but there's no doubt in my mind that I think Tua will have the ability to make a team better.
Is there a common trait? And I'm not talking about just because all 94 guys that you can claim have helped get to the NFL level, they're all very good athletes. I understand that. But is there a trait amongst those 94 that isn't something you would normally think about in a player, but you can see this kid's got it? Is there any kind of trait in those guys that have helped them make it to that next level?
You know what I think is the consistency in how they work. I mean, I've had a lot of really talented players that I've recruited that didn't make it to the next level because they didn't necessarily, sharpen their tools, as we like to say, in terms of staying ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And the ones that make it, the Stephon Diggses of the world, and the Sean Merrimans, and the Vernon Davises, and Tua Tagovailoa, Calvin Ridley, a lot of these great players that I've had opportunity to coach and see go on to the next level. DJ Moore. I mean, these guys constantly, they don't have a lot of outside distractions. I mean, they're able to really focus their energy and all of their effort to just improving year in and year out as a player. They never take days off or time off. They never get out of shape. They're almost guys, like I call them gym rats, in that they're the type of guys that I can remember Calvin Ridley, who got drafted, probably 2 or 3 picks after DJ Moore did when I was at Alabama. I mean, I would have to shoo him out of the indoor and make him get off the field after practice because they would overtrain, and you've got to just kind of pull the reins back on guys like that. So I would say the trait that I've seen out of the really successful players that I've had a chance to coach, develop, and be a part of their development all kind of have that work ethic that's necessary, and they don't allow a lot of distractions in their life. They make really good choices and decisions in their life that allow them to be the best version of themselves.
Coach, can't thank you enough for making time for us on what I'm sure it is a day with plenty going on. I mean, we just respect your time so much, and thank you for talking a little WCAC with us and helping us get ready for this draft, which just ties everything that we do in the basement together, from the local high school level all the way up to the NFL, where at you as a fellow Redskins fan. Hopefully you tune in next Thursday night, Coach, for our Hogs Haven First Amendment Sports Draft Party. We got some. I'm sure we're gonna have some guys as guests on that show that you know well, so we look forward to that. But in the meantime, we wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you again as you really take our Maryland Terrapins back to where we all know they belong, and it's just so obvious that that's where they're going. T.
Locks, man, thanks so much, dude.
No,
DMV is on locks down. Keep it going, brother.
No problem, man. I'd love to catch up with you guys next week, but I'll be doing some of the draft with NBC Sports Washington.
You're competing with our show.
Bigger and better things to do, Ken.
I'll be following you guys, man, and it's great catching up with you, Tim, obviously, and meeting you, Ken. And I wish you guys the best of luck as you guys continue to promote this great game here in what I think is one of the best areas in all of the country for college recruits.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Coach. I'll be out there with my T-shirt for you.
All right.
And so you can also check out my son, Luke, who's 1 years old. He's got a hell of an arm. You got to start evaluating him now. So I'll be out there soon, Coach.
Yeah, just make sure you don't send him to Penn State, all right?
No. It won't happen. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach.
Guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, T. A good
You got him in the books, man.
Wednesday night
great
show
guy.
in the books. He's a great guy. He's the best.
He's the best.
And I think Maryland fans, I don't think Maryland fans are taking it for granted that he's our guy. I think everyone's generally up and excited and happy with not just what he can and is doing, but kind of like, I don't know, I think where everyone sees the Maryland program going underneath him, because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do to make our team better, which was secure the local talent that Maryland has always struggled doing. I mean, when Rakim Jarrett changed from I should have said it when he was there. I just didn't want to put him on the spot about a player. But when Rakim Jarrett changed to Maryland from LSU, that was a turning point for a program.
That turned a lot of heads. A lot of people said, "What?" And now, when you're on Twitter and you're seeing a lot of these high school kids that are putting out the top 5, top 10, whatever it may be, Maryland's in there almost every single time.
Yeah.
Maryland's making inroads with these kids. These kids are talking to each other. These kids want to play with each other, and especially the kids that are local want to play with each other. So if he can keep that movement going, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to get this Maryland program back to where it was in that 2000-2001 season when Friedgen first showed up.
Yep.
And he's right. I remember the makeup of that team. The makeup of this team now is looking eerily similar to that. And it's all going to be based upon, and founded on guys that are from this area. 15 guys from the WCAC. And then there's a whole host of others. More than half of the roster is from the state of Maryland, from this area, the DMV.
Yep.
So they're well on their way. And I'm glad that he brought up the fact that they played the most true freshmen out of anybody in the country, because everybody is so excited about how they came out the box in those first 2 games, and then things kind of died down. But those guys got experience now, and this team's only going to get better. And I think they're going to be contending, or at least in the discussion of a Big Ten championship in the next two years.
I love it. And never a bad time to let everyone know that next week we have 2 really big shows, and we're happy to announce that we're working with our whole team, our game day broadcast team, that we broadcast our football and basketball and every sport under the sun. And here in the basement, Luke is going to help us put on an awesome, thank God it's Tuesday, show that'll kind of lead into the draft. And on Thursday night, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get to see. What I'm promising people is that by Thursday you will see Tim Strachan on the air live. And I'm making the same promise about
scary.
Kevin
the
Ricka.
fact that I can't cut my hair.
You're going to wear a hat.
That's the big. I might have to go with a hat first of all.
I'm wearing a hat right now.
It's going to be a lid night. Tuesday night with Dino Campbell.
Yep.
The former defensive coordinator at DeMatha, when and the current defense coordinator now again at the Mather, but he was there as the defense coordinator when Chase Young was there. We're going to have him on Tuesday night. Thursday night, I'm not going to use names yet, but we're going to have a few of Chase Young's old teammates. And let me throw out a little bit of a teaser here. One of them didn't even play football. But we're going to have those guys on with us next Thursday night when the Redskins pick Chase Young at number 2. And I can't wait till all this starts going down, Ken. We got to have an event. We got to have a sports event. We got to build it up. We got to have a lot of fun with it, man.
That's exactly what we're gonna do, and I can't wait. And let's see, we're less than a week away from Tuesday night, which is always, as we said last night, that's kind of how we're starting to. That's like the buoys in the water at this point in time. The navigational beacons are Tuesdays in my mind. So appreciate you scratching up some Wednesday time for us, and we definitely.
Hey man, we'll talk about this stuff any day of the week. It's Tuesday as far as I'm concerned.
And Kevin is getting a haircut right now. That's why he's not on. It was a big job, let's just say. It required about 3 different cameras, Zoom cameras, conversations from the professionals. So we'll see what that looks like.
I can't wait. Let's get our mugs back on TV. I want to see your face, man.
Well, you can see it right now. I don't think I don't think you're gonna want to see it again after seeing it for the first time. But
oh God.
I will tell you what, T. Thank you so much. Shout out to all of our good friends throughout the WCAC and for hanging with us for an extra day this week. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, he's Tim Strachan.
To all you kids out there that we talk about and praise and give love to, stay grounded, guys.
I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Still live, AGH.
AGH was live? Awesome.